The society's first order of business, as we all sit in the well-chilled air and shiver, is to promise us coats. Before the society, when the warming happened, things changed in the outer provinces. The official tells us. It gets cold, but not as cold as it once did. It's still possible to freeze at night, but if you wear a coat, you'll be fine. The outer province, then, it's certain. The other girls, even Indy, look straight ahead. They didn't blink. Some of them shake more than others. This is no different from any other work camp assignment, the official says into our silence. We need you to plant crops, cotton actually. We want the enemy to think that this part of the country is still occupied and valuable. It's a strategic action on part of the society. It's true then, there's a war with the enemy? One of the girls asks. The officer laughs. Not much of one. The society is solidarily in power, but the enemy is unpredictable. We need them to think the outer province are well populated and thriving, and that the society doesn't want any one group to bear the burden of living out there too long, so they've implanted 6-month rotation programs. As soon as your time is up, you'll come back as a citizen. None of this is true, I think, even though it seems that you believe it is. Now, he says, gesturing to one of the officers who aren't piloting the ship, they will take you behind the curtain, search you, and give you the standard issue attire, including the coats. They're going to search us now? I'm not the first girl to call back frantic and trying to find a place to hide the tablets, but I can't see a spot. The society-made landscape, the airship is a slick, smooth surface. No nooks and crannies, even our seats are hard and smooth. The belt's strapping us in the simple and tight, and nowhere to put our tablets. Something to hide, Indy whispered to me. Yes, I say, why lie? Me too, she whispers. I'll take yours, you'll take mine, when it's my turn. I open my bag and slide the package of tablets. Before I can do anything more, Indy quickly evens in her hand-locked palms it. And what will she do next? What will she need to hide, and how will she reach it with her hands cupped like that? I don't have the time to see. Next, brown-haired officer called out, pointing to me. Don't look back at Indy, I tell myself. Don't give anything away. Back behind the curtain, I have to strip down to my underclothes while the officer searches my pockets of my old brown plainclothes. She hands me a new set of plainclothes, black. I see the bag. Let's see the bag, she says, taking it from me. She rifles through the messages, trying not to wince at one of the older ones from Bram comes apart to pieces. She hands the bag back to me. You can get dressed, she says. A moment I finish the last button of my shirt, the officer calls out the head official. This one has nothing, she says, about me. The officer nods. Back in my seat next to Indy, I slide my arms into the newly acquired coat. I'm ready, I say, and I softly, barely moving my lips. It's already in your coat pocket, Indy says. And I want to ask her how she's done it so quickly, but I don't want to be overheard. I feel almost giddy and relieved at what I've managed, what Indy managed. The officer points to Indy, and a few moments later she stands up and walks with her head bowed and her locked hands held up beatenly in front of her. Indy does a good job of pretending to be broken, I think to myself. Across the ship, the girl searches after me begins to sob. I wonder if she tried to hide something and failed, which is what I would have done without Indy. You'd better cry, another girl says dully. We're going to the outer provinces. Leave her alone, the third girl says. The officer notices the crying girl and brings her a green tablet. Indy says nothing when she returns from their search. She doesn't glance in my direction. I feel the weight of the tablets in my plainclothes pocket, and I wish I could look and make sure that they're all there. The blue ones from Alexander and my own 3 tucked inside. But I don't. I trust Indy and she trusts me. The weight of the package is almost the same. Any added heaviness is unpredictable. Whether she wanted to hide must be small and light. I wonder what it is. Perhaps she'll tell me later. They give us minimal gear, 2 days worth of food, rations, and an extra set of plain clothes, a canteen, and a pack in which we can carry and everything. No knives, nothing sharp, no guns, no weapons. A flashlight, but the lightweight and the few of the carved edges that it wouldn't be much for fighting. Our coats are light but warm, made of something special, I can tell, and I wonder what they've wasted resources on the people. They send us out here. The coats are the only sign that they might care if we live or die. More than anything else, they've given us a coat replacement investment expenditure. I glance up at the official. He opens the door in the pilot compartment again and leaves it slightly ajar, and I can see the constellation of the instruments that lit up on the panel inside. To see them seems so numerous and incomprehensible as the stars, but the pilot knows his way. This ship sounds like a river, Indy says. And there are many rivers where you're from, I ask. She nods. The only river I've heard of anywhere near here is the Cypress River, I say. The Cypress River? Indy asks. I glance over to make sure the officer and official doesn't listen in on us. They seem tired. The female officer even closes her eyes briefly. The society poisoned it, I tell her. Nothing can live in it, or in the banks. Nothing can grow there. And he looks at me. You can't even really kill a river, she says. You can't kill anything that's always moving and changing. The officer moves around the airship, talking to the pilot, speaking with officers. Something about the way he moves in the ship reminds me of Kai, and the way he could balance on a moving air train and anticipate small shifts in the directions. Kai did not need the compass with him to do that. I can travel without it too. I fly forward, and Kai and the way Xander into what is the outer difference. Almost there, the brown-haired officer calls out. She glances over at us, and I see something there. Pity. She feels sorry for all of us. For me. She shouldn't. No one on this airship should. I am finally going to Outer Providence. And I let myself imagine that Kai waits for me when we land. That I'm only moments away from seeing him. Maybe even touching his hand. And later, in the dark, his lips. You're smiling, Indy says. I know, I say.